21 countries. Last year I went to 21 countries. Yes, yes. So I love the Philippines. And, yes. And other people were smoking, so I started smoking. And the gas station close to my church would sell me cigarettes. Yeah. And so I would skip church and go buy cigarettes and then smoke them thinking I was cool. And all I was doing was sticking my mouth around a car and sucking the fumes of a car into my lungs. Because that's basically what cigarettes are. Carbon monoxide. Poisoning. Do you think that's cool to suck on a car tailpipe? No, and pay for it, for goodness sakes. Cigarettes are very expensive now. I am so thankful. I am so thankful that God set me free, where I don't have to give money towards a carbon monoxide cancer stick versus I can buy a coconut or a healthy water or, you know, buy some jam. I bought these in Singapore the other day. See, I would rather buy these, and I got them for 15 Singapore dollars. In America, they cost like 200 American dollars. So I got a deal. So I'm just saying, when you don't do drugs and you don't smoke, you have extra money. You know? But once I got hooked on drugs, there were some crazy things I did to get drugs. So in 11th grade, I took my first drink. And alcohol is a drug. I know we're talking about just say no to drugs, but I'm going to suggest you say no to anything that'll harm your body. You know? Anything that is going to slowly destroy your body that God gave you. I am saying it's not good for you to do that because it could even kill you. So, 11th grade, I had some Jack Daniels. I'm from Tennessee. That's where Jack Daniels is from. And I didn't know how fast to drink it. I didn't know how slow to drink it. All I know is I was miserable. And I didn't want to be miserable. So I looked at that bottle, like it was a lover. Like it was a hunk of burning love going to take my problems away. And Jack Daniel was not a lover, it was a killer. You know, a lot of people get liver. They get cirrhosis of the liver from too much drinking. You know, a lot of those rock and roll people you like in America, they end up looking ugly because of so much smoking and drinking. They look just ugly because all that fun in the name of rock and roll has led them to where? If not death, it's led them to divorce and it's led them to the drug rehab. Lindsay Lohan is a drug addict. She's one of the most popular people in Hollywood. But she's always in and out of jail, in and out of the rehab. Some people, you know, the Bible says the fools mock. Fools think sin is a sport. And I was a fool, believe me. I was a fool. I thought it was fun to smoke cigarettes, and then when I got drunk for the first time, I threw up black. I threw up black stuff. I couldn't see, the room was spinning, and I laid in my bed. I don't know if you think that sounds fun, but I look back on it, and the only thing was that I forgot my problems for just a few hours. But guess what? When I woke up, I had more problems. So if you're trying to latch onto something you think that will take your mind off your problems, and you're going to have new problems. But I had to learn it the hard way. And many people do. Many people learn it the hard way because they don't listen and they say, well, I'm never going to throw up black stuff. I'm just going to control my drinking. I'm not going to use the hard drugs. I'm only going to smoke a few cigarettes to look cool with my friends. That's what a lot of people do. A lot of people start using drugs because they see somebody else doing it and laughing a lot. Well, I laugh a lot now. I laugh a lot now because I got some joy down bubbling in my soul. The world didn't give it to me, and the world can't take it away. It comes from something higher. And believe me, when I preach all over the world, I'll preach outside of, see my hat? Amsterdam. Amsterdam has legal marijuana, legal prostitutes, but I'll stick to the marijuana part. You can go into Amsterdam and go to a coffee shop and buy marijuana and smoke it away. It's legal. When I go to Amsterdam now, I don't smoke anything. I haven't done drugs July 31st, 1994. So when I go to Amsterdam now, I go with the purpose of telling people you don't have to pay for your happiness. You don't have to smoke that stuff. You can have something greater. Do you really think that we were put on earth to go grab a plant out of the ground, hang it to dry, and then crumble it up and stick it in rolling papers and smoke it? Do you really think that's why you were created? You know, there's people that will huff paint. There are people that will huff glue because they're just miserable and they're trying to get a quick escape. I understand that. I told you I had a lot of pain. Now I don't have pain, but I could have died in the process. I don't need drugs anymore. You know what? Matter of fact, I didn't need them then. My brother was also adopted. I was adopted, my brother was adopted. My brother's never done drugs. He never smoked. Matter of fact, he was a virgin when he got married in his 30s. He was a good, real Christian. I told my brother that before he got married in front of everybody. They didn't know what I was going to say when I stood up. But I was going to say, look, Carrie, you have walked the walk in front of my eyes of a real Christian. That's all I was going to say. And so that's what I said. I honored my brother because there I was. I'm telling you, I was an alcoholic from that first drink. I went, instead of learning my lesson from throwing up from the black stuff, I basically said, when can I do this again? And by my senior year, I had my own car. I didn't deserve it, but I had my own car, and I had alcohol in there. And I would find people. I would find people to buy my alcohol, and I would even drink before school. And then I would lay my head down, like you're sitting up front, you're taking notes, you're listening, you're probably going to become something great. But I slept. And my senior quote was, live fast, die young, James Dean. It was like I was proud of being a loser. I was proud of it. I was miserable because I was put up for adoption. Instead of seeing it the way it is, I see it now, God gave me a great family that took care of me. I looked at it as, well, what about the mother that didn't want me? You can look at the glass half full or half empty. It's up to you. Attitude determines a lot about where you will go in life. I ended up on marijuana after that. I smoked marijuana during high school, and I remember one time it was laced with something. Just because you have grass and somebody says you want marijuana doesn't mean they haven't sprayed it with something. Mine was sprayed with PCP, and I thought I was losing my mind. I called my friend at 17 years old and I said, I'm fixing to die. Come pick me up. I want to die in the parking lot of Captain D's seafood place. That's just where I was. And I didn't die. But still to this day, she remembers how critical that day was in my life. We're still friends. She remembers how messed up I was at 17. After I got out of high school, I left my parents. I moved into my own place and I began drinking. I got pregnant out of wedlock. I kept my baby. I was $100 short at the clinic. Thank you, Jesus. I have a 24-year-old son today because I didn't have enough money. Abortion is legal in my country. If you're pregnant, you don't want your baby, you can go basically murder your own child. And it's legal. It's horrible. 50 million have been killed, but mine was spared by the grace of God. His name is Nicholas, which means victory. I did not marry his father because he already had 4 kids and he had been divorced twice, but he could buy me beer. I needed that man to buy me alcohol. I didn't love him. Do you hear what I'm saying? I loved the alcohol. Now, I loved my son, but when you are addicted to something, no matter how much you love your kid or you care about even your job, your alcohol controls you. Your drugs will control you. And if you're messed up on drugs, your mind says, I have to go to work. I have to go to the babysitter to pick up my kid. I have to be responsible. But your body will tell you what you're going to do and when you're going to do it because you're a slave. I'm not a slave anymore.
Amen.
Because of the hero in the story that came. Praise God. But I ended up working at bars, and when I started working at bars, this lady I used to get drunk with came back in the kitchen and put down a line of cocaine. And she was just Miss Party Animal, never had to work, so she was my hero because she never had a job. So I thought she was cooler than me, because I'm working. She put the cocaine down. It looked very simple. We had a $1 bill, rolled it up, and I knew not to do it. But because of the power of the fake happiness in her life, I did it. I snorted that line. And for the next year of my life, I became a cocaine user. I took LSD.